Welcome to the Sincerely God podcast. I'm Sarah, and I believe that God is speaking to all of us all the time and in many different ways. The primary way that I listen is through two-way journaling. And on this podcast, I share excerpts from my journaling time with God, which are really inspirational messages spoken from the perspective of God to you. I'll talk more about what two-way journaling is and explore other methods which may be helpful for you to listen to God in your own unique way. I'm just an ordinary person who gets to hear from an extraordinary God, and I believe you can too. Thanks for joining. So I've shared before about what two-way journaling is as a way of tuning in to the way that God is really speaking to you all the time. There are so many different ways that we can hear from God, that we can tune in and listen to how God may be speaking to us. And I think, we as individuals, we are unique. We have different communication styles. And so we're going to probably have a tendency towards specific ways that are easier for us to tune in, connect, and really hear from God. But I also think there are many ways, even just in one person, that we can learn and listen through many different routes. So two-way journaling has been really my primary method, I would say. But the other significant way that I listen to God, that I hear God, is through my dreams. And I think hearing God through dreams is actually a very common way. And really, if I think back, it's probably one of the first ways that God started communicating to me, or has been communicating to me, but it took me a while to recognize. So I wanted to take some time today to just explore what it may look like for God to speak through our dreams. You may, maybe you don't typically remember your dreams, or you don't think that you dream. I think as we recognize that this is a way that we can kind of tune in to how God is speaking, but also tune in to even just how our own, subconscious is, what we're processing subconsciously, that may actually allow you to be more open to dreams and start to actually remember them more. So I encourage you, even if you say right now, hey, I never dream, I don't remember my dreams when I wake up, I still think this will be a helpful discussion for you. And at the very least, it's something that you can share with other friends who do have dreams on a regular basis. So I'm going to share kind of just a really brief introduction to when you're starting to think about understanding your dreams or hearing God through your dreams. These are things to keep in mind. I will also provide a list of resources, people, or books that I have found helpful as I've kind of journeyed through this and learned a lot. So I'll have that in the show notes, but I'll also go into that a little bit at the end as well. So some of what I'm sharing here is actually going to be taken from these other individuals and books as resources. This isn't necessarily what I'm coming up with on my own. So first, I wanted to just talk a little bit about there are different types of dreams. Now, if you study different individuals that have, dream interpretation, etc., I haven't seen a consistent, every single person, every single book is describing dreams in the exact same way. So this is sort of my version of what I think the different types of dreams are based on what I've studied from other individuals. So the first type is what I've heard called or referred to as soul dreams. And now I would describe these as dreams that are really processing out emotions, stuff that's just in your subconscious. If we think about who we are as individuals, we have a mind, we have a heart, we have a soul, and that's kind of what, in a way, creates us as our individual person. And so much of our life, and they talk about neuroscientists, etc., most of all the activity that's happening in our brains is subconscious. It's not actually something we're conscious of. And, we can have things that are coming up in our subconscious, whether it's old belief systems, even memories that maybe we don't even consciously recall, but they're embedded in our subconscious in a way. There's so many things that can be going on. And so for me, when I have soul dreams, which I would say this is probably the most common type of dream I have, it's really giving me a window into what's going on with me kind of below the surface. I am a an introverted person. I am an internal processor. And I've also in my past really struggled with processing emotions in a healthy way. And so oftentimes a lot of that happens below the surface. And I found that my dreams are actually a way that I can heal and process through some of these things without having to, yes, there's still benefit to seeing a psychologist, a therapist, talking to friends, mentors, etc. But there's this added layer, this gift in a way, where my dreaming mind will often be processing things that are going on emotionally or just below the surface. I'll give an example. There's, so many examples, but one example, I went through a divorce about 10 years ago, and there was, of course, anybody who goes through a divorce, there's often a lot of hurt and just difficult things that you're processing. And it was interesting for me at the time. I could really see kind of where I was as far as health and healing through the intensity of my dreams. So when I was recovering, there's a lot of things that I was processing through. And, earlier on, the dreams that I was having were really processing those hurts, those negative patterns that had been kind of in the marriage. And it was processing it like on this super intense scale. So my dreams were included like physical violence, fearing for my life, those types of just extreme. If you take like an emotion that you're feeling, how would you symbolize it? It was at a very intense level. But as I kind of, walk through the process of healing through things, the intensity level would decrease in my dreams. And so, maybe earlier dreams were, somebody is trying to break into my home and I'm fearing for my life. And later dreams, as I was kind of healing and progressing, would be more a verbal argument versus like a, physical violence. So that's just an example of how like I could almost take a temperature of, okay, how am I doing? Or at least feel like, okay, I can tell that I am healing, I am growing, I am moving through this because I can see the intensity of my dreams is reducing over time. And I really like, one of the things about soul dreams is sometimes we can be facing something in our life that it is under the surface and we don't actually recognize it. Maybe you're feeling a little anxious at work, or you're just kind of been off and you've been feeling negative, but you can't put your finger on what it is. Oftentimes, whatever it is that's going on under the surface that's bringing some of those feelings can come out in your dreams, and it can actually give you a hint, a clue of, oh, this is actually what's been bothering me. And it allows you to then maybe take some of those conscious steps, whether it's making a change or just thinking through, sharing with a friend, kind of processing through, how are you feeling about this? So I really think, even though you could say it's not exactly God speaking to you, it's really yourself speaking to you, but it is a gift, and there's so much benefit that you can gain by paying attention to your dreams and learning how to interpret them. So first type of dream, soul dreams. The second type of dream could be called like a nightmare, or just, dark dreams, quote unquote, dark dreams. I personally believe that it is possible to have negative spiritual forces directly influence dreams. We can get into that. Maybe later I'll talk a little bit more about that. But, if you struggle with nightmares, it is possible to break free. And I probably will share more strategies about that in maybe some future episodes. But my short answer at this point is I'll just say light beats dark every time. So if you are struggling with, when I say dark, negative, however you want to classify it, but dreams and themes that are not for your good, they're actually bringing you down versus raising you up. And if you feel like this is something that's out of your control, I want to tell you, you do have control. There are ways that you can bring more of that positivity, bring more of that loving, light-filled, God-infused, just energy. I believe in angels and all the spiritual forces from that perspective. So light beats dark every time. The more that you are in the light, the less you're going to be influenced by those dark or negative aspects. I've heard of, just a quick thing is, play worship music, lightly in the background at night when you're sleeping. That is just one small step you can take to bring light and love and God's goodness into the atmosphere as you sleep. But, I will just say, if you are struggling with nightmares and these dark dreams and you're trying to break free, message me. I'd be happy to share a little bit more of what I've learned from others, of just strategies, steps that you can take, but probably we'll go into more detail in a later episode. I also want to say that not all what we would call, bad dreams, not all bad dreams are actually nightmares. Dreams are very symbolic. And so sometimes that battle or even a death in a dream, they're symbolic and they're representing maybe a difficult situation in your life. Something that your subconscious is trying to emphasize, and it's doing it in a dramatic way to get your attention. So I described before with my soul dreams, the example of going through my divorce and that healing process, it wasn't that I was physically in danger as my dreams were showing, but that physical danger was a symbol of kind of emotionally what mental and emotional state I was in. So don't dismiss every dream that has bad aspects to it or negative aspects to it as it must be a nightmare and I'm not going to pay any attention to it. No, it very well could just be symbolism that's trying to get your attention about maybe something that is bothering you that needs your attention, and you can make some changes to address. Then there are what I will call prophetic or spiritual dreams in the positive context. Basically, where God is speaking directly to you. So I think even in our soul dreams, I absolutely believe God is using that and he's speaking through them even to just bring our attention to things going on inside of us. But there are also dreams where it is a direct, like God is using this dream to send you a message, to give you insight, revelation. And in some cases, God can even be speaking to you through your dreams about something that is going to happen in the future. I've had that happen. So one of the cool things, or one of the benefits about hearing God through your dreams is, when it comes to, let's say, two-way journaling is a way to tune into the thoughts that are flowing into your conscious mind. But that can be difficult when we get very caught up in our thoughts and being able to kind of open up to that flow. Whereas when you're dreaming, your conscious mind is already taken out of the equation. So really, I think sometimes the easiest way to hear God is through dreams because you are open. It is all your subconscious. There's this room for the spiritual to influence because, so many times there's things that are either what God is trying to tell us or the way that God is trying to talk to us is beyond our rational ability to understand. And sometimes that can kind of put a blockage and not allow us to fully receive openly. Whereas in your dreaming mind, that rational part of you is not there. I mean, dreams are often fantastical or just, very symbolic. And so there's an ability for God to speak things to you that you wouldn't be able to maybe, or it would be more difficult for you to receive or acknowledge in your waking hours. So I would say that most of the time when you are getting, call it prophetic or just these God dreams, they are going to be for you. Even if people, the people that are in the dream you're watching are other people in your life, or even you could have like famous people appear in your dreams. So even if the storyline itself is playing characters that are other people, most of the time the actual insight, revelation that's being revealed in the dream is for you. And I would say, and I've heard other people teach that majority of the time it's also going to apply to the near future versus like a long-term future. I have had dreams that are more long-term future, but majority of the time they're going to be a near term. And also you can sometimes get insight through your dreams for other people. So while most of the time it's going to be focused on yourself, you may have a special gifting to where you receive dreams that are insights for other people that you are connected to, or even, people that you can reach out to share the messages with. And even if this isn't like a specific, call it gifting, that you get a lot of these types of dreams, you may occasionally get a dream for someone else that is intended either for you to pray for them about the situation. Sometimes it is to actually share with them about the dream. I have definitely received dreams that I believe were intended for other people that I've shared. But again, most of the time they're going to be for myself. You can also have what I've heard termed body dreams. So, you can have physical sensations that are played out through your dreams. So let's say, you're laying on your arm, cutting off the circulation, your arm falls asleep, and in your dream, maybe you are in a battle scene and your arm gets cut off, or you are on a desert island and feeling the extreme heat, and you wake up and it's like you have, a few too many layers of blankets on you and your body heat has increased. So there's certainly things that you could just dream because of physical sensations that are happening with your body. I've also heard described body dreams as you can get insight of maybe there's something that is physically wrong with you. You don't realize that you're having a heart problem or something, and it can come out in a dream. I personally would put that in the category of a prophetic or spiritual dream where God is talking to you and maybe through your body, but I would kind of categorize that differently than maybe what some people would call it. And then I think we do also just have regular everyday dreams. Our mind is always active, and even if we're not processing underlying emotions or receiving spiritual insight, we just simply dream. I really think it's a creative outlet for our imagination. We have imaginations. It's almost like if you think about your computer always has like a screensaver on or something. Your mind is always processing things. And so it's not that every single dream has a specific meaning. Sometimes your dreams are just cataloging what happened in the day or what happened in the week or what you're thinking about that's coming ahead. And I would say for me, so I'll first preface to say I dream a whole lot more, or I remember quite a few more dreams than probably your average person. I don't sleep well. I wake up multiple times throughout the night, and that gives me an opportunity to recall the dream, kind of replay it in my conscious mind, and that allows me to remember a lot more of my dreams when I wake up. So if you only remember one dream when you wake up, or you only have that happen, once a week, once a month, I don't think there's anything wrong with you. I think I'm actually more of the exception to the rule. But if I think about just in my own content of dreams, probably the top two are going to be soul dreams, where I'm processing emotions. That's probably the most common type of dream that I have. And then after that would be what I'll just call the regular everyday dreams, like filler dreams. And then after that would be kind of those spiritual prophetic dreams. So quick recap, different types of dreams: soul dreams, nightmares or dark dreams, prophetic or spiritual dreams, the way that you're hearing from God. Body dreams are just kind of common, regular, everyday dreams. The other main thing that I want to emphasize is that dreams are almost always symbolic. I very rarely had a dream where I think even parts of it I could take literally. 99.9% of the time, my dreams are symbolic. And I think that's true for most people. I have definitely heard, even in one of the dream book resources I'll share, she shares about these kind of really prophetic insight type dreams that are literal, not symbolic. But most of the time they're going to be symbolic. So don't freak out. Don't be fearful. Don't jump to conclusions. If you have a dream that your best friend dies, or you get cancer or something like that, don't automatically assume that or be afraid that your friend is going to die or you're going to get sick. 99.9% of the time, it's going to be symbolic. So maybe if your friend dies in the dream, it's indicating like, hey, I'm concerned for the well-being of this friend. There's a situation that maybe they're in that is making me concerned that it's not really for their best. Or you have a dream where you get terminally ill. Maybe that's indicating that there's something going on in your subconscious, or there's maybe a situation that is just eating away at your emotional health or your mental health. And it's just giving you a sign of, hey, you may want to rebalance here. You may want to look into this situation to see if there's maybe a different approach to take in it, because it's not for your best. It's not for your well-being. So don't freak out. Definitely consider what could the symbolic representation be. interpretation is definitely required in order to understand the meaning of your dreams. And interpretation, there are definitely a lot of resources that you can use to help you with interpretation. And I'll give some examples that have been helpful to me, but I definitely want to emphasize that everyone is different. So there's a lot of commonality, and there's certainly a huge benefit when you're looking at common dream symbols, etc. But don't just take it 100%. If this person said, my teeth falling out always represent this example, it could be different for you. And usually the symbols and situations in your dreams are going to be exaggerated. They're going to be more extreme, right? Your dreaming mind is trying to get your attention. Your subconscious is trying to get your attention to things. And it's a whole lot easier to understand when it's kind of this more extreme situation of, okay, someone's trying to break into my house. That could be, I have some fearful thoughts that are trying to get into my mind, and I need to kind of make sure my door is locked, so to speak, where I am not allowing unhelpful thoughts to kind of take over my mind or my belief system. So just keep that in mind. They're going to be exaggerated. They're typically going to be to the extreme. I want to share just a really quick one thing that God had shared with me in my journaling about dreams. He said, your dreams do not typically express a real experience, whether past or present. They are representations of deeper meanings. Consider their themes as metaphors. So I think that's very good advice when you're looking at your dreams.
I'm sorry for the abrupt stop here, but I ended up getting a little long-winded and decided to go ahead and break it into 2 episodes. So I hope this gives you an opportunity to start considering how you may be able to hear God through your dreams. And then I hope you will check out my next episode that will sort of wrap up this introductory conversation. Thanks for tuning in to the Sincerely God podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe and share with your friends. If you'd like more information, you can go to my website, sincerelygodquotes.com. There you'll find links to my social media, as well as an ability to get your own copy of Sincerely God, a collection of quotes, either the book or the prayer journal. Until next time, keep listening to how God is speaking to you.